How's everyone doing?
Doing really good now that the rain stopped.
Good. Thanks for joining today. I know there's a lot to talk about. So it's 6 o'clock right now. I think we could maybe just start with some introductions again, just really quickly. Everyone, I think Naomi sent out my agenda this afternoon or earlier today. Does everyone have the agenda kind of in front of them? Good, good. I see a thumbs up and some nodding. I'm gonna do this today. If there are any Interact Club or Rotaract Club advisors here from the DOE or anyone else, do you mind just maybe introducing yourselves real quickly here? I'll leave it open here for the next minute or so for those introductions. We just have a lot of folks, so I don't necessarily want to go through a full-blown introduction of all the Rotarians. I think we all kind of know many of us here, but anyone here from the DOE or Interact Club advisors? Susan, you're on mute.
Yeah, Susan Goya, Hawaii Baptist Academy Interact.
Hey, Susan, you're also Rotarian, but you are an Interact Club advisor as well from the school. So thanks for joining. Anyone else?
Elton, you guys need to meet Elton Kinoshita. He is the principal of Lanai, and they're starting up a Interact at Lanai School. Good to see you, Elton.
Hey.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Elton. So excited to hear about the new club on Lanai. Anyone else?
There's Barry.
Yeah, okay, I see Barry too. Hey, Barry. Let's have Barry introduce himself.
Hey, yes, Barry Harris, the Vice Principal of the Rotary Club. Yeah, we are trying very hard. Of course, the pandemic has hampered our efforts a little, or actually significantly. But we've had one in the past. We do have an advisor on campus who is willing to continue with the club, but it's just a matter of getting that opportunity. But yeah, we're on board to try to reactivate our Interact Club.
Sounds good. And I know Sandy's involved. She's going to try to join us a little bit later here as well. So
yes.
And obviously Naomi's here. You've all seen her. So I'm introducing our district governor. So thanks, Naomi, for joining. I think in lieu of going through everyone's introductions today, maybe if you're going to speak and you haven't introduced yourself, please just introduce yourself. So again, I'm Ryan Char. I'm with the Honolulu Sunrise Rotary Club, and I'm the youth service chair for Naomi's year, and we'll be continuing as a youth service chair for Sandy's year. I'm sorry the meetings don't seem to be as regular as they should be. I'm still trying to get into the swing of things with our almost 6-month-old now. So I have my own youth to deal with in the family, but surprisingly, he's almost 6 months old, and that went by really quickly. So anyway, those are kind of, so again, maybe before you just, speak, if you're going to chime in here on any of the agenda items, just please introduce yourself and your position and which Rotary Club you're from at that point. So that's kind of taking care of the introductions here. Naomi, are you going to record? Oh, you are recording this meeting, so thanks for doing that. At this time, I just wanted to give some updates. If anybody has any updates, I want to start with Naomi, though, if there's any updates on any of the Rotaract activities. I know our council was kind of meeting and they were looking for some projects to do, and this was a lot of the UH and HBU clubs. But any updates from our, I don't think Ernesto was able to make it, but any updates from our Rotaract clubs in the state?
So the Road Raptors are meeting every month, and the Maui Club, they're looking for projects to hook into. So they got connected with RILA, so they're volunteering for RILA. There may be some Red Cross, because they're nursing students, yeah. So Junior Red Cross project for Upcountry, they're looking for that project. HPU was doing their mentoring program. They opened it up to the other Road Ract clubs. Ernesto is reaching out to some of the other clubs to help them get up and running. So like West Oahu, he's offered to try and get to the school and get some interest there. So they are meeting during the holidays. They kind of were in a hiatus. So they had an open house and are talking with each other. There is a student with the UH group that is from Taiwan. And so he's offered to do a training or an information program in February if the convention is still on. But they're interested in going to the UH Road Raptors are interested in going to Nepal with the district in October. So they did say that they were interested in international projects as well. So they're going up and going and still meeting together every month.
Great. Thanks for that update. They're kind of, as Rotaract has been, they've kind of managed their clubs kind of themselves, but I know they are looking for projects. It's been a tough year to do projects, so I think they're all looking for good ideas. So if any of our clubs within the various islands have a need for volunteer manpower or person power, please reach out to your respective Rotaract clubs. It's great to hear that Maui is involved with their with the statewide RILA. So
Hey,
that's
Ryan?
good to hear. Go ahead,
Ryan?
Jeff.
Yeah, this is Jeff Horvath, HLYF president. Just to give you, I know I'm on the agenda, but I just want to let you all know. I just want the test points, because the schools, a lot of the schools are not holding tests this year with SAT and all these kinds of tests that they usually do. And it was a scoring factor on the interviewing. So what we're doing is we're spreading out those 15 points across the board, not one specific area like scholastics or needs or things like that. So it's going to be spread evenly across the board, and we should be updating the score sheets. The other thing is, of course, the deadline is February 1st. And on January 30th, we'll be having a training on interviewing, the interviewing process. So anybody's interested or get the word out, we've notified all the club reps. So just to give you a heads up. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. On the Interact side, I know, I think this has been shared with this meeting before, that a new club has been at Dole Intermediate, but we're also chartering the club at the Central Intermediate School Club has been chartered and is working forward. And then the Lanai School is working here to get chartered, I believe. And I believe there was a couple of other middle school clubs that were in progress. Is that right, Naomi, in terms of chartering?
Yes. I don't think it's close to it, but they're working on it.
They're
For
working
middle
on
school.
it.
Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good. And those are some of the middle school clubs, and we'll get to our junior RILA topic in a little bit here. In terms of our high school clubs, I know folks have been interested in working with Campbell High School to get a new or revive their Interact club at Campbell High School as well. And Barry is here talking about Castle, kind of reviving those clubs here. Anybody have anything to report on their Interact clubs? If there's any success stories, or everyone's still kind of running into challenges here with the Interact clubs. I know Susan at HBA has always done very well with her Interact club, and I would be happy to hear any great projects you guys are doing, in case any of the other clubs might have some idea or might gain some ideas from it.
For the Christmas, we're busy with bell ringing for the Salvation Army and doing the Angel Tree project. This month we're going to be in a couple weeks doing training sessions for a Readeract project where the kids are reading online to kindergarteners. And then that's going to be followed up in February with a paper act project where the kids are going to be doing origami paper folding with second graders. So we're using the HB Elementary as a test case to see how well we can get these interactors trained so that they can maintain the attention for these young ones and be able to guide them smoothly. And if it works out well, then we're going to spread it through the elementary schools in our district. So if any Interact Club, is interested in trying that out with us, they can join us. Our first training session will be the first Saturday in February. We're also starting our middle school 8th graders will be joining Interact this year. We're going to start off with 10 kids from the 8th grade, and they are by nomination. We kind of want to just start off this inaugural year with just those 10 kids and iron everything out first before we start opening it up to other middle schoolers.
Great. Brian.
So Brian Dunkel, Youth Services Chair for Honolulu, Oahu. So Tiara Evans of the Eco Rotary Club of Kaka'ako actually proactively reached out to me because theoretically we were sponsors of the Interact Club at St. Priory, St. Andrews Priory. Got a word there. And she reached out and said, hey, we'd like to sponsor a club, an Interact Club. And I suggested, well, why don't we go back to together? Because I had it on my list of things to do, which is fairly long, to connect with some of the, relationships that had withered in previous years. And so we actually had a very good meeting before the holidays with the club advisor, who was different from the advisor back when Rotary Club of Honolulu was in there. So we reconnected. Turns out they had been happily being an Interact Club for several years without really interacting with the Rotary Club, which I found kind of interesting. But they've since reached out to us again proactively to say, hey, can we get involved in some projects? So we're going to be looking together, Tiara and I, to get them together in that. So I thought that was good. I do have a question, if at some point we can talk about it, related to Interact and Rotaract clubs. I got a sense from a couple of different sources that there is some kind of sort of understanding amongst all of the Rotary clubs that only certain Rotary clubs are in certain high schools or other schools for various Rotary or Interact or Rotaract activities. And I'd like to understand how that is determined, because I'd like to be able to do things that may involve more schools than just the ones that we're directly involved with. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So I'd like to understand if that's a thing, and if it is a thing, how is it determined? So
Sure.
that's it.
Naomi,
I'm done now.
You want to take that, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll take that. Okay.
Okay.
So that is a thing. So Brian, there's a list of sponsored clubs. And so if there is a sponsored club for a school, you should work with that other club. It's just like if you have a sponsored club, you might not like or appreciate someone coming and reaching out to the school without your knowledge. So if you can check that list too and just coordinate that, that would be great. And
Okay.
bringing it up at this group would be a good thing, because then you can get the sponsor club to join you for projects or whatever you want to do.
Yep. So if a school isn't on that list, they're sort of open for interaction. Okay, so we should not overstep anybody who's on that list. I'm assuming as an active, not as a terminated, right?
Well, okay, as you know, some of them might be terminated. Some of them might be terminated on the list, but they are active. So
okay,
just like for the prior 8, the Andrews Priory Club, they were active, but they were terminated on the list. So yeah, I was just segue into just making sure that everyone has access to this list. Thanks for asking, Tim. This is if you are entered in as an advisor. This is kept by Rotary International. I think it's on Rotary Club Central, or one of the main Rotary International. It's not a district list. This is actually a Rotary International list. And so every year you need to go in there and update your advisor name and the status of the club. Otherwise, the clubs will be terminated or put on an inactive status. And so we know that's very difficult. I am more than happy to share this list with this group and try to coordinate some of that. So if you guys have a question about your, past Interact clubs that you've worked with and what's the status of them, you can always feel free to email me. But we want to make sure those lists are updated every year. So
What's the timing on that? When do they sort of collect that information? Do we need to have it done just before the change of the Rotary year, just after? When do they normally do that?
Usually right around the change of the Rotary year, so June and July. So we would want to make sure that we hit the deadline for next year. I think would be by end of July. I think they request it by.
They want to try and do it May, June. So
Well,
that
are they trying to push it up? Okay, because I think it was previously July.
Yeah. And so we did send out the list to all of the youth service. So that's why it's important to have the youth service person named in the club runner, because they got the list at the beginning of the year. And I can send it out again, Ryan, to everybody so they can
Yep.
see how it looks now.
Yep, sounds good. So thank you. Thanks for the good questions, but it's great to hear. I know the Eco Club has some interesting projects that they want. I mean, not interesting, but the great projects they want to do. I think a couple of beach cleanups were on kind of the books coming up soon. They've just finished their tree planting projects. And so hopefully many of your clubs on Oahu were able to join that. And hopefully our other island clubs are also joining up with their Interact clubs as well. So any other Interact updates that anybody wants to share here? Just from my two Interact clubs, I know Mid-Pacific did the Angel Tree this year and did a couple of other donation drives specifically for Mid-Pacific. And right now, Roosevelt, though, on the DOE side is having a lot of trouble getting activities done. They're running kind of into the we can't do anything right now, kind of as a group. I think most of you have probably seen that the DOE canceled all their large gathering events for the spring semester as well. So that's unfortunate, but we're still trying to find ways for them to get involved either remotely or by outdoors. And so I think I mentioned this in our last meeting, but what the Roosevelt Club did this past fall was write letters to seniors at Lanakila Senior Center. And so they did that and we were able to do that remotely. So some of these ideas are just kind of out there. Please advertise it, I guess, and try to get them involved as much as possible. The Interact clubs will remain strong as much as kind of our Rotarians stay involved with them. And so I know there's been a couple of questions in the chat just about who's involved with each club. Usually you would list the person that's most involved with the club should be in that list and listed on that list, so people who are contacting other clubs can make sure they get into the person that's actually working with that Interact club. Gary, you had a question or a couple of questions here. Sorry,
I was just sharing who my advisor at Kapolei Charter was. So I sent that to Naomi.
Okay, great.
And the second one was when it comes to speaking about RILA, I just wanted.
Yep, we're gonna have Tim talk about RILA in a little bit. So I'm just kind of going down the agenda.
And what the kind of speakers are, so I can share it with our kids. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, great. So I'm gonna move on to kind of the meat and potatoes here of our agenda. This college and career readiness webinar series I am still working on, so please apologize again for a little bit of a delay here, but we are looking to do a February webinar on leadership, hopefully in partnership with the Toastmasters. So Naomi is going to put me in contact with some folks from the Toastmasters group, because Rotary does have a formal partnership with Toastmasters now between the two organizations, and we'll look to be doing some sort of leadership and public speaking type of event webinar for our students. This is kind of a continuation of a few or a couple of the fall webinars that we did based off of the college app, common application, as well as intro into financial aid. So that is, I will have more dates for you, but look for that sometime in February, and we'll try not to overlap with any of the other events that are going on in February.
Hey,
Go
Ryan,
ahead.
can you
Yes.
tell me what kind of feedback, how did those go, the webinars?
Yeah, sure. The webinars in the fall, I thought they had great feedback from those that attended. Unfortunately, our attendance was a little bit lower than I think we had hoped for.
Yeah.
So it's really about us in this group as our youth service community chairs and folks to be looking at the emails and the flyers and things like that and getting the word out for some of these events. Everyone that attended, especially the folks that I pushed towards attending those webinars, said they all learned something that they did not think
Good.
that they would know, or they thought they knew everything that there could be to know about the Common Application, right? It's
Yeah,
a fairly standard thing.
Yeah, I reached out to all the local high schools and I did get a couple of emails back saying, yeah, we got it. So that's good. But, you know, they had it from, you know, you guys. But
They had it. I was able to get the flyers and publicity out to almost every principal, I think, in the state of Hawaii
Right.
through my contacts through the DOE. And so, we wish we got, maybe about 20 or 25 people attending for for having hundreds of, thousands of students in the state. We should be getting more. But, the folks that did attend really enjoyed it, thanks to the great programs that, Gary and his contacts over at Pacific University came up with. So, yeah, I wish we had more folks, but we'll continue to, it's gonna, we're playing the long game here. So we'll continue to keep pushing. I think it'll be easier when things aren't so hectic. It was kind of the beginning of the school year for the DOE, and they were all kind of trying to figure out how to do things. So, Gary, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, first I want to say hi, Susan Goya. How are you over at HBA? How are you, my dear? And Susan, it was what's her name? Oh God, what is her name? Oh, damn it. Well, our admissions counselor was the one who did it for them. So
Donna Marsana
yeah.
Ramos. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Ryan, I was just saying, if there's anything to take away from this, is possibly us developing a curriculum for this in June, so that we can present it to our schools in the ending of July, right before school starts, because that's when they really start to go look at colleges. And then provide opportunities throughout that time and make it a curriculum that has like 3 or 4 sessions, and make it, really concise and maybe an hour at a time. Maybe
Yep.
Susan, you can help us and give us ideas on what your kids look at, because I know that we work a lot with HBA, and we'll be happy to provide speakers for it. And we also have a lot of regional help from universities on Oahu, who'll be more than willing to step in and give, so that it doesn't look so one-sided. I want to make sure everybody gets a play in that. I think people from like Grand Canyon and let's say and NAU, they will be happy too. And there's a bunch of other universities that'll be happy to jump in. So
What was your target, the target age group? Or is it just incoming seniors only, or did you open it up to all high school students?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, maybe we're talking about seniors. If we're talking about seniors, then it's more. And Susan, please chime in. We're looking at, if it's for seniors, then we're looking at the working with the Common App and how to do that. But I think even if it was in the spring, if you wanted to do something in the spring, you could do something that says, so for the juniors, what do you look for? What are you looking for as a college?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah,
So-
it was my experience working in the high schools as a career counselor that this needs to start with the 9th graders, and even
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah.
I would like to see, especially since we're getting such a low turnout,
Mhm.
why not, maybe it would have to be adjusted later, but hopefully we'll get a lot more. But these kids need to prepare. And then my other question is, are the colleges are they community colleges as well? Or is it just the universities?
The
You could
presentation
have a
was-
session with community colleges because they have different
Yeah.
programs
Yeah.
than what some of the universities may offer.
Mhm.
I think it's a good question that you asked about the age group, because when we're doing college prep with many of the private schools, the college prep does start
Eight, ninth
or
grade.
more intensely from ninth grade.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that is more just kind of getting you ready. If you mention Common App to them in ninth grade, they won't know what you're talking about.
No.
But for the seniors, we had it, I think the presentation was in November. For the seniors, by October, November, they already know which schools they're going to. They've already heard from many of the different representatives and their college counselors,
Like,
all the preparatory instructions and everything. So to then present them a college prep session on the Common App in October
Late.
probably won't get a lot of attendees, because by then they're finished with their Common Apps.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things I want to add to that, because this kind of mini committee that was putting on these webinars did talk about all of this to some degree. The presentations initially were geared for juniors and seniors this year, so we did open it up to juniors too, and so we didn't want to necessarily go too far down the line necessarily to start us off. We're really kind of just laying the groundwork and the framework for this.
Mhm.
Gary, pointed out, we're really kind of planning for next year, how we're going to roll this out next year, who we're going to open it up to in terms of more people. And the presentations are really not geared to any specific college or community college. I think that's the important piece to remember, right? So it's the Common Application. The Common Application is used by a variety of different schools, right? So, and then the financial aid question is, again, it's kind of geared for anyone really looking for financial aid, not necessarily whether it's a community college or a four-year college. So,
And Ryan, if I could chime in as well, I think this is a really great planning time, right? It's January, and looking at what is a full schedule for next year and sharing that with the schools, and having different curriculum based off of the grade. The way you speak to a ninth grader and what they care about is going to be completely different than a senior, to all of your points. So I think we're early enough in the year right now where we can work on developing that timeline, developing the targeted courses, and then really promoting it. I think we had low turnout for a couple of reasons. One, it was the first time we ever did it, so nobody knew what to expect, right? So I think the more you do it, you're going to get word of mouth marketing, and the students are going to tell their friends, wow, this is really good, you should attend next time. So I think, we stick at this for 5 years. We may see a couple hundred people on this call in the future. And then I think the other thing is we did kind of promote it last minute. It kind of snuck up on us. So I think, getting ahead of it now, meeting with the principals, getting them to work this into their year-long activities and agenda, or sorry, activity calendar would be huge. So Gary, I just kind of came up with an idea based off of your conversation where we could even do a panel and engage some of the recent graduates, or even students that are currently, freshmen and sophomores in college, to talk about different universities and their experiences. And that's where I think, the freshmen may be more interested in, just exploring different programs out there. So yeah, I think there's a lot to do.
To that, Val, that's a great idea. We could also, if you're going to go with that in mind, we could use some of the kids that might have been foundation recipients, Well, and because that if as their give back to the program, that might be where, and or I know with us we have a diamonds in the rough for the kids who were at the community college and got an opportunity to go, and if they continued. But I think you're right. If we start early and start to plan now as an ad hoc group, and then bring it to the whole group somewhere in June, July, and just say, well, this is what our proposal is, and we're going to take it out to the schools, and then I'd like to even get some of our Interact advisors to help be part of that panel of idea grabbers. So
Yep. I'm gonna table that for now. I think you know, if you want to be involved, the committee initially kind of started with me, Valerie, Gary, and Joy. And so please, if you want to be involved in kind of some of the planning aspects of this, you know, enter your name in the chat here, and then we'll get you kind of included in the upcoming kind of steering committee meetings on this.
Cool.
Ryan,
All
one
right.
quick comment.
Yep. Wes,
Yeah,
what was
so
that?
speaking of failures, you know, ProRidge embarked on a similar program like what you did for the Common Application. In fact, Donna helped us with our curriculum, and we offered all the students at Pro City High and IAL High School the opportunity to sit through a essay writing workshop. And we've even invited the students to send us their essays. We would critique them and help them, you know, do it and such. But like your webinar, we managed to get 2 people to show up. And it was disappointing, but it taught us a great lesson. We got our curriculum together. We got all the great things about how you write great essays. And I even quoted them the Harvard top 10 essays every other year. They promote their top 10 essays. I read the best one for the year and everything. But I think this year we just couldn't get any traction with any of the kids. And you know, we talked to the principals of both IA and Pro City. They put it on a blast to all the students, and we got 2 people show up. So I'm willing to, you know, sit on your committee and try to find a way to get a bigger audience and get our word out some more. So
Yeah, sounds good. Don't be down, you know, with COVID
yeah, I
and
mean, next year
everything.
or another year after that. So
It
yeah.
was it's a
Yeah,
tough
don't
year
worry
this
so
year.
much about it because the schools, especially the private schools, they really do a real intense college prep on this.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
oftentimes their English teachers are the ones that are prepping the kids for the essays. So the kids may feel like, okay, you know, we have it in class, so I don't need to get it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, please again, enter your name in the chat if you want to join our planning one, but we're looking at a leadership type of event here coming up in February. And I'll go through a little bit, you know, going down the agenda, there's other opportunities here. So I want to move on to tomorrow is a young professionals focus group and networking event at 6 p.m. on Zoom. Naomi sent that out via a Club Runner to all your emails. Naomi, you want to say anything about that?
Oh, this is a group of Rotarians from age maybe 22 to 35. And so it was kind of interesting in what they're saying they would like to get out of Rotary. And one of the things they wanted was professional development. So tomorrow we have a speaker who will be talking about that from Bank of Hawaii. And there's a lot of interest in that. We're looking at maybe bringing in some CEOs to speak about their experiences for the young professionals. So I think the group is very excited to meet together at their level to get in the speakers that they like, and it's coming together well. Thanks.
Yeah, and so this is actually, you know, I know it's kind of been billed kind of as a, you know, young professional. So you're in your career, you know, so you're a Rotarian or non-Rotarian, but you know, it's a good way to kind of do our membership kind of time and marketing of Rotary to our younger professionals. You know, I mean, I don't know what you think about even inviting the Rotaractors. I think that's possible too.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so I think, you know, anyone here on the call, you know, if you have someone that would, you know, Rotarian or not, Rotaractor or not, you know, if you feel like this a good way to introduce someone to Rotary through this Young Professionals Network, please spread the word on this event for tomorrow. All right, moving on, Jeff, I know you did a little bit of a primer on HRYF, but the scholarships are due on February 1st. So hopefully each of you have sent out your application packets if you haven't already to folks that need it. I know it did go to
that was automatically sent out.
Right. So
yeah, they notified the schools, and the school
Yep.
counselors get a hold of the kids, and the kids are the ones that submit the packages. So we just wait for them to come in.
yeah, no, I think just to spread the word here, you know, please let your Interact clubs know, or even just the school principals know at your respective schools that this application is out on the street, because I had to remind my Roosevelt folks that the scholarship was available. Mid-Pacific did a very good job, obviously, of telling their students it was available, but I had to remind my Roosevelt students.
Baptist Academy is good too.
Yeah, so please spread the word. Any what was that?
No, I said, the Baptist Academy also does a good job.
No, they don't.
Yes.
I emailed them and told them that it's vacant. Nobody's in there.
Okay, so that's someone else, I think. So
Oh,
don't worry about that.
Okay, so I yield the rest of my time to you.
Great. Anybody have any questions though for Jeff on HRIF? I think, you know, at this point, training will be provided right before the applications are due on interviewing, but every club is kind of setting their own interview schedule to meet the overall HRYF program schedule.
Yeah, and-
Anyone have any questions
I
for
have a
HRYF?
question.
Yep.
yeah, one more question.
Jeff?
Yes,
So Jeff, are you not requiring them to submit the SAT or ACT scores, or are you saying to submit them?
no,
But
no,
if they don't have it, it's okay.
yeah, we're waiving that requirement this year because of COVID-19. A lot of schools aren't doing the SATs. So that's why this year only, we had a lot of responses from different Rotary clubs saying, hey, you know, there's no test, you know, the students on my schools aren't getting tests, you know, is that going to affect them in any way? And so trying to be fair to all of them, we're going to waive that this year only, and then we'll reevaluate next year.
I want to share, I've emailed, I've made phone calls, and everyone I've talked to that responded, just I'll do the best I can, but I'm not, I'm going to make another round of calls in the morning, but I haven't really had any applications sent in or any response yet. And I think every school is having a difficult time. Not everybody's on the same schedule. I don't know what to do, but we do have, you know, if it happens, you know, we'll yield our $5,000 to somebody else, but we're trying.
You know, because there's that rule about letters of recommendations can never pass through students' hands. A lot of times the schools will gather their essays and their applications. They'll wait for the letters of rec to be sent to them, to the counseling office by the teachers. And then they'll wait for the registrars to put in the transcript, and they'll send it to you all in one packet. So
Okay.
it's not that the kids haven't applied. It's just that they're turning their stuff into the counseling offices that are holding it for all the other pieces to come to them. And then
Okay.
they will put it together and send it to you folks in one package. That's how we do it. And I know that Punahou does something similar also.
And Hawaiian style is last minute, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's
Always
the
the
thing we
last
do.
minute.
Always last minute.
Unfortunately, like in my case, I'm flying out of here on Thursday because of family emergency. So I'm
Right.
going to be doing it, but you know, we're all doing it on Zoom and email anyway. So I'm sure I'm going to be able to, but I was hoping to get some of it started, you know, on my end.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Any other questions for Jeff? Otherwise, I'm going to move to Tim Hansen at Ryla. I know I had him a little bit later in the agenda too,
Right.
but
Ryan,
I'm just going to
Ryan.
let Tim, was that?
Ryan.
Yep.
Right, hold on. So somebody wanted to know if they wanted a speaker on HRYF. And so Jeff, you have island people, so they should be contacting the island person to get a
Yeah,
speaker.
they can do that, or they can contact me.
Okay, so
Yeah, and I can do it.
put it in the chat on the who to contact. Can you put it in
You're
the
gonna make
chat?
me look at all that stuff? I'll get it out later. But I'll get the information out. But usually I'm the one that does the presentations.
Okay, is it okay if I put your email address
Yeah,
in the
sure.
chat? Okay,
Sure,
thank you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Don't make me work,
right.
come on.
All right, thanks. Moving on, Ryla statewide this year, we talked about it last meeting to really promote that. The deadline is basically as soon as possible now. They are gearing up here to get Ryla started virtually at the end of February. So please make sure that if you're sponsoring students that you've really worked with your schools to find participants for Ryla. And so I'm gonna hand it off here real quick to Tim to go over where they are and what their program's going to be like. I know that was a question from Gary as to what this year's statewide program is going to look like. So Tim, take
Hey,
it
aloha,
away.
everyone. I'm glad I could join you this evening. We are super excited about our virtual RILA happening February 26th and 27th. And as Ryan said, applications are wide open. Today was technically a soft deadline, but we will continue to accept applications. If you have any 10th or 11th graders that you're connected with, please, please, please direct them to rilahawaii.org, which will bring you to the district website and all of the RILA information, the applications, everything you need. Easy access to remember, rilahawaii.org. And do not let money be a question or concern. We have funds available to support students no matter what school they're coming from or what island or what area of the island. So our goal is to not turn any students away this year because a club doesn't have the funds or they can only sponsor 2 or whatever it will be. We really want to get as many students connected to our RILA camp as possible. So it will be February 26th and 27th, Friday evening from 6 to 9 is how we're going to be kicking off RILA. We will actually be opening up our designated secure Discord site the week before that and begin to invite students to come and connect with one another and learn about RILA even before we kick it off on that Friday evening. But I also wanted to mention the 2 virtual platforms that we're using are Discord and Zoom. And also that week before the actual RILA weekend, we will be having an orientation question and answer session for parents or anybody else in regards to the use of Discord and Zoom, so that we're able to address any concerns, just kind of clear the air on any questions that there might be. If we reach our goal of 108 students, that will help us to form 18 Ohana groups. Each of the Ohana groups will include 6 students, 1 youth facilitator, which is a high schooler who has graduated from a previous RILA, and they'll be there to help guide their Ohana group along. And then also 1 alakai, an adult Rotarian, that's also part of that Ohana group. And that person's role is to kind of watch over the group, make sure that things are going smoothly, that everybody's involved and interacting in a good way. If we have less than our 108 students, we will have fewer Ohana groups or maybe smaller Ohana groups. So the committee is ready to pivot and make whatever adjustments we need in order to make the camp exciting. I want to acknowledge that on this Zoom call this evening, I see Karen and Jen from Big Island. So big mahalo to them for having been for being an active part of this, along with Brian, and also Valerie has jumped in, is going to be helping with a few things as well. So big mahalos to everybody who's been so active in making this virtual RILA, a great success. Let's see, what else did I want to mention? No one turned away. The Ohana group. So on the schedule, we've tried to, we don't have the 2.5 days that we usually do, right? So we've had to really hone down the schedule. A lot of the core of RILA will be focusing on leadership. So building leadership skills, talking about what are the different types of leadership, doing some assessment using an assessment tool called True Colors that some of you are probably familiar with, to help students kind of get a sense of maybe where are their leanings in regards to their leadership styles, their leadership skills. And then talking about what type of leader is needed in different situations. So how are we flexible in our leadership skills, and how can we go with the flow and or pull in other people that can help balance off maybe where your skills are not quite as strong. So there's going to be those sorts of presentations and discussions. What we've learned from the zone conferences that we've been to and learning from those that have put on virtual RILAs, we've gotten the message very clearly that a virtual training or conference workshop cannot just be a talking head. If you just have someone up there talking, the kids are like, bye, catch you later. I just did this for 5 days. So our agenda is very dynamic. Presentations are anywhere from 5 minutes to 25 minutes. And that time will include interactive sort of things. We've got games and contests with prizes happening about every hour or so, which will kind of throw in some excitement and challenge in regards to that. We, again, are building these Ohana groups. Each of the Ohana groups are going to be picking a project that they're going to be working on. And so we've slated 2 hours over lunch and 2 hours over dinner, which will be designated for the Ohana group to really be practicing the leadership skills that we've been talking about during the rest of the time, and a chance for them to focus on a particular topic that's of interest to that group. It might be recycling, it might be the environment, it might be COVID, it might be disconnection in politics. I mean, whatever the kids are thinking about and dealing with are going to be part of what their focus will be. On Saturday evening, we're still going to go ahead and have each of the Ohana groups present their topic. It's going to be a challenge in regards to doing this via Zoom. But one of our presentations, by the way, is on leadership in the virtual world. Like, what is it? Leadership skills in this sort of setting are kind of different than what you might need when you're actually in person. So they're going to get a chance to practice all of that. Another way that we're helping the whole RILA camp to be engaging is that we will be sending out survival kits to each of the students that are going to be part of the camp. And so they will get a box either delivered to their house, either through the mail or by Rotarian volunteers. In that box will be their t-shirt, will be craft supplies, we've got bottled water that's being donated, just a variety of things that they will need and that they'll open and use throughout their RILA experience. So like, okay, everybody open up envelope number 27. And inside that will be this thing in this activity. So again, we're looking at it being very quick and dynamic, but still holding on to the core of what RILA is about, which is, what is leadership? How do we practice and hone our leadership skills? And then what is the wisdom of Rotary that we want these kids to get? So we'll be looking at the 4-way test and talking about how is that involved in our decision-making and in our abilities as leaders. So again, we're just super excited about this, but we definitely need your help to get 10th and 11th graders signed up and connected to this. We guarantee that it's not going to be boring and talking heads. It's going to be different than what their school time is like during the week. And it's going to be dynamic and it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's the quick update on RILA. Again, at rilahawaii.org, there are a number of videos that have been produced. And welcome you to please go to that site, click on the videos. I use those videos when I present it to my Rotary Club, which is the Rotary Club of Hilo Bay here in Hawaii. And folks were really excited and impressed. Our club is going to be sponsoring 17 kids to attend RILA. So again, the sponsorships are there. We just need you to help us get kids involved and connected. Happy to take any questions that you might have.
Yeah, so any questions here?
Who do we ask for the extra sponsorships?
If you just have the student fill out the scholarship or the application to RILA, we will figure out the funding. Yep, don't let that be a barrier at all. I know Naomi might be cringing a little bit with that, but we are not going to let funding be a barrier for kids attending this year. It's a very unusual year, as you know. So usually I know the clubs work with their specific Interact clubs, and then they apply through the club and are sponsored, and it's different. We gotta be flexible in order to make this year happen. Any other questions?
Yeah, Tim, what is the current enrollment registration that is?
We currently have 37 students enrolled as of today is the number that Naomi gave me. Hopefully that's changing by the hour. So we could be at 85 by, well, okay, maybe not. But we are certainly encouraging as many folks as possible. Elton, so glad to hear that Lanai is firing up, and what a great year to have some students from Lanai be part of our virtual RILA statewide camp. I mean, usually it would have been difficult for them to be involved, to fly to wherever on Maui, wherever the camp is happening. But what a great opportunity to introduce students from Lanai to what RILA is all about.
Yeah, several years ago, we had two of our girls, twins, who attended it, and they had a real blast. Both of them, I think, they're in their junior year now. Both of them are at West Point, but they thoroughly enjoyed, and their mom is our high school guidance counselor.
Wow.
So she's supportive too.
Excellent. Excellent. Many of you know Dalton, or rather Dylan from Maui. And Dylan is a RILA graduate and is going on doing amazing things. He's agreed to be our MC for the RILA weekend. And so if you know his energy and his humor and his excitement, you know that this RILA is gonna rock.
Great. Thanks, Tim. Again, even Mid-Pacific and Roosevelt speak highly of the RILAs that have occurred in the past, and they all signed up early. So I already got, 8 students from my 2 schools signed up. So we definitely can do it. And they've been telling their friends about it. And so I think they're all looking forward to it. Any other questions? I do want to give a little bit of time for Junior RILA. Any other questions for Tim here? Great. So please, again, send this information out and find worthy students here to attend our virtual RILA this year. So thank you very much. We are also doing a Junior RILA this year, and this is for our intermediate schools. Just looking at a short 1-day, 2-hour event on February 13th for our Junior RILA team. I didn't see Joanne on the call, but I see Wendy and Naomi. I don't know if anybody wants to share on Junior RILA and how many spots are open for that one.
Joanne's on the call.
Oh, hey, Joanne, I see you.
Hello. I'll let her do the talking.
Yeah, we'll keep it quick. Tim just said it so much. Actually, Elton, the 2 young ladies, they're at West Point. They're on our list to be facilitators for Junior RILA. They're checking their schedules. they're the twins, and they're great. So Junior RILA, the little kids, the mini Huni. Our biggest challenge is getting information out to them because they are not connected so much with Interact in their high school. So what we are doing is sending information to the SACs, the student activity coordinators that are actually, most of these SACs have leadership kids somewhere, and that they meet their leadership kids somewhere in the middle schools. And the information has been blasted to them every week. Right now, our camp is on, our 2-hour little mini camp is on February 13th. We have 16 kids already registered, which one from Molokai, believe it or not. And we are excited. We keep sending out more and more information because the kids are welcome to sign up. Again, there is no cost because there are a number of clubs that have already funded this middle school. We have a keynote speaker who is only speaking for 25 minutes at a time, and then they're going to be broken out, as they are with high school, into Zoom rooms. And these Zoom rooms are facilitated by past RILA graduates, and they are all in their 20s. And I see on the screen Kelsey Briggs, that we also have some Rotarians. All of our facilitators will be trained on February 6th for 1 hour, and they are all under 30. And so we are really excited that these facilitators Many of them may not be Rotarians now, but they were in the RILA program here, and many of them were Rotaractors in college and are now in the work world. And Kelsey is in our club now, and she is going to be RMC. And Wendy, bless her heart, is the registrar. I am putting the information in the chat. It's everything. It's the application. If you're interested in being a facilitator, you're welcome to be a facilitator. We'll make you work a little bit, but again, they will be in small groups and a number of times throughout the 2 hours with great. We're looking forward to something new and exciting for these middle school kids. That's it.
Great, thanks. Exciting. Any questions for Joanne and Junior RILA team?
Joanne, add my 10 to your list.
Add your 10. Make sure they get in the register. We haven't gotten them yet. Wendy, they all go to Wendy. We'd love to have them. The more the merrier. We want 70, we have space for 72.
Great. All right, we've got a few minutes here, and I just want to touch on a few upcoming events. This Saturday from 9 to 12 Pacific time, so that's actually 7 to 10 Hawaii time, is actually a virtual RILA conference number 2. This is number 2, sponsored by the Big West Rotary Group and Youth Services Task Force. It's free, so the registration is in the agenda. Please, if you are interested, they will be talking a little bit about virtual RILAs, and some districts have already put on virtual RILAs, so there'll be some tips and tricks and great thoughts about how to just conduct virtual trainings like these. So I think it'll be a very good event for everyone. I know the RILA committee will be attending, so that is happening this Saturday. Registration is in the agenda if you can make it. I talked a little bit about the college and career readiness webinar, so we'll be reactivating that steering committee for that. Rotarians at Work Day is coming up in April, and I know there hasn't been a ton of in-person projects, so a lot of what was being thought of for this upcoming April project were island-wide kind of beach cleanups. So every various club on each of the islands doing a beach cleanup with all the appropriate social distancing and protections in place. So we will be working on that. I know Eco Club was trying to coordinate some on Oahu, along with some other Maui clubs. We're looking at doing that as well. So Naomi, any updates from those clubs yet on publicizing some of those events?
We're going to be announcing it this Saturday for the president and getting it out to the different islands. We want to do it statewide. So it's more, we're trying to pick up plastics most of all in the reef. So Westmont, you can go skin diving and pick up plastics in the reef, but it's ridge to reef. So we're going to identify places around the islands for people to go in small groups to go pick up plastics. So we'll get the information out. Thanks.
Great. And so again, if you can involve your Interact clubs or Rotaract clubs or middle Interact clubs, please find a way to do it. I know it's been a challenge this year, but we want to provide all the opportunities for them to go out and get service. And so this is one of those ways. And then finally, the 2021 district conference is happening. And I have a breakout session for youth on Saturday that I am needing to plan for. There's a couple of topics that have kind of come up through just my various conversations, and I need to work on getting a speaker and do a couple of different trainings for folks. But I think I have a couple of hours to present, and two of the topics that have kind of risen to the surface are either servant leadership or peace. And so I'm working on trying to come up with a short program to go over that. In addition to some of the breakout sessions that we'll typically do, just kind of a recap of youth service this year and things like that for all the Rotarians that are able to make it. And then one other thing that we're trying to do for this district conference is also really set up our Interact clubs for success next year. So working with them to make sure that their officers are selected, put together a potential island-wide or statewide Interact council, because we used to have that before, and they actually had their own assembly every year. And just trying to get our Interact clubs just re-energized and planning for 2021 school year, where hopefully folks will be vaccinated and more events will be occurring in person. And so we want to really try to hit the ground running with our clubs, our Interact clubs and our Rotaract clubs. And so those are kind of the three things that I want to do at the district conference, would be to do a quick recap of youth service this year, work on a short presentation on either servant leadership or peace, and work with our youth clubs to help plan for their next upcoming school year. And so Naomi has her hand raised. Yes, Naomi.
Sorry. So you're talking about officers for the Interact clubs. I want you guys to meet Coyote. Coyote Karkin is the Interact advisor at Barrington, and their officers are elected in January. So Coyote, you want to tell us about how you guys do your officer elections and why it's January instead of July?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you. And our students actually decided to do it that way. It wasn't me. They came up with the idea so that so we're doing elections this month, and the new president, the new vice president of our club, etc., they have a whole 4 or 5 months to kind of shadow. So it's sort of like a more seamless transition. So the training is a lot easier. So they're training each other. So yeah, we're getting ready to do elections for next year, and the new president does start now, but you can tell it's sort of like a big sister, little brother kind of situation. Like, oh, what do I do now? Oh, okay, thank you. And so it works pretty well. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I think it helps them train each other. That's all. Thank you, Nimi.
Thank you very much for that. Just for all of us, the continuity of our Interact clubs really relies on our advisors and our officers, and making sure that they have that time over the summer to really prepare. And so that's why I think I came out at the very start of this year with a kind of a generic schedule for our Interact clubs, when they should be doing certain projects, when they should be looking at electing officers, and many of them were from starting to get those officers elected sometime in April or May. January is great too, if you can get it done in January. I know my Roosevelt Club will be selecting their officers in April. So those are one of the things I do want to do, and I want to have that opportunity for our Interact clubs to join us at the district conference in that way, to participate in that way, because I believe it's both virtual and in person still, right, Naomi? So we'll have some opportunities to do some virtual things with our Interact clubs still at the district conference. All right, with that, that's all I had for tonight. Any last questions, or my next steps? Again, identify your Interact club advisors to District 5000 and on the international website. I think Naomi sent out the list of clubs during this meeting, so you guys all have that, and just make sure you're able to publicize and attend our upcoming events. Any final thoughts from anyone here, or any questions?
Colomé, I realized that I forgot to mention one of our premier presenters of RYLA, which is going to be Ryan. Ryan's going to be talking about youth services and stuff. So sorry, Ryan, I forgot to mention you.
No problem. Mine is a very small portion, but I will be talking about how, as a youth, what does Rotary mean to you, and how can you be involved, with Rotary as you move from youth to adulthood, which is something that I know very dearly myself. So we'll be talking about that at RYLA. So with that, that's all I had for today. So thanks for joining this meeting, and we'll let you know when the next one is. But be safe and get people to sign up for our events, please. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank
Mahalo.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ryan,
Yes,
I have a question.
sure.
You know, in a previous meeting that you had with the youth services chairs of all the clubs,
Uh-huh.
you made an interesting comment about that in all of us working together, that an Interact club should consider having more than one sponsor also. You know how some how some Rotary clubs sponsor more than one Interact club?
Yeah.
And you turned it around and said, you know, that Interact clubs can also have more than one sponsor. Have you kind of made any parameters for that? Or because I can see there's a big benefit for that, but there can also be, like what Naomi said, you know, you don't want some people stepping over. So I'm just wondering, is that something we're going to pursue, or is that just tabled for now? Or
It's something that I'm not actively pursuing, but when it does come up, and it has come up, and so when the funny thing is, when Brian talked about that, Tiara had already reached out to me and asked me how to get involved, how she could get involved with St. Andrews, because she has the contact at St. Andrews. And I told her, well, you know, there's a process, right? Like Naomi said, there's a process to doing it. But, you know, at the same time, I think because you have the contact and you have the relationship, we really shouldn't feel territorial necessarily about having multiple clubs work together with one Interact club. And I'm glad to hear that Tiara reached out to Brian, and Brian and Tiara seem to be working together for Eco Club and Honolulu Rotary to restart the St. Andrews Club. Hopefully that remains kind of an equal partnership moving forward. Beyond that, it's just kind of like just kind of happened organically. I know folks have reached out to me with the same thing. They haven't been as successful as Tiara was, reaching out to join forces with another club. A lot of times the person who reaches out will meet a little bit of resistance from that club, like, oh no, that's our club. Like, so let us know if there's something going on, because we're supposed to be doing that club. I'm trying to tread lightly my first year. I think moving forward, I will start to see which clubs are active and which clubs are not as active. And for the ones that are not active, trying to pair Rotary clubs together to get them to be more active. I don't want to say this out loud necessarily, but are you looking to find a partner club for HBA in addition to Ala Moana? Maybe.
I'm not actively pursuing.
Yeah.
However, you know, that big barrier is going to be how the Rotary clubs feel about it.
Yeah.
On
So yours is only Ala Moana, and that is who's the advisor besides you?
I'm Riley.
Tom Riley is our youth services chair. Yeah. And we had resurrected McKinley High School the past 3 years, and this year they're defunct.
Right.
But I can see where there will be some issues that could be kind of sticky for the Interact clubs when 2 Rotary clubs claim sponsorship to that club, especially if they're doing projects that may be high profile. But at the same time, you know, I do see the secret of the Kiwanis Club in that, you know, when I have multiple projects going on a weekend, there's only one of me. I can't clone myself. So having other chaperones from other Rotary clubs or whoever could do it would really help. And I think when it comes to this kind of stuff like sponsorship, I know, every club probably has a limit that they give their Interact club. And we will probably always exceed that limit, so I don't want Ala Moana Rotary, I don't want to overstep them by going to another club and saying, hey, can you sponsor us? For my kids. So I'm just wondering if there's some kind of pathway, or whether, you were making some kind of, charter or something that in which that could happen. Like with the Kiwanis Club, they kind of band schools together. So if they have a project, and let's say, Roosevelt Key Club has a project and they want 25 kids and Roosevelt only has 10, they're going to pull 5 from Farrington, 5 from Kalani. So when they show up, they're showing up as Key Club, not Farrington Key Club, not Roosevelt Key Club. So in the community, their presence is really striking, because when I talk to the community members, they're always saying stuff like, oh yeah, you guys want to help too? Well, we get a lot of help from Key Club. It's not Farrington Key Club or Roosevelt Key Club, it's Key Club. So I'm like, oh, okay,
Yep.
And then when we do go to those projects, it's like HBA Interact is here, and then you got Kaiser Key Club and McKinley Key Club and Roosevelt Key Club all over there. So in comparison, yeah, it is impressive. But the thing is, it also is rubbing off on the kids. So a lot of these schools, our Interact kids who have friends in other schools, when they say, hey, are you joining the Interact? Their friends will say, no, I'm going to join Key Club. So when they're saying, why are you joining Key Club? Oh, because their projects, we get to work with students from other schools, and we're always active. We got more things going. We got, and so I understand why when you look at different high schools, especially, well, even the private schools too, the Interact clubs look so much weaker than their Key clubs on campus. So when a kid wants to do community service and he wants to join a community service club, they're gonna go to Key Club first.
Yeah, it's a I've thought about it. There's a couple of things I would suggest to maybe Naomi and maybe Sandy at some point here. It's philosophical, I think, in Rotary, right? I think I know one of the area coordinators for Key Club, and she's like, I work with 5 clubs, Key clubs in different schools. And she's like, whenever I need help, I'll just pull whoever from those 5 clubs and we all show up and we all just get there, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's cool. It works really well on large events. I think that's why you don't really see a lot of Key clubs or Leo clubs working on their own like individualized projects. Rotary tends to be more individualized, right? Like we come up with our own projects. We don't really, like, we volunteer for a few really big projects, I think, Children and Youth Day, other things like that, but we don't do a ton of them, right? And so whereas you see like Leo Club working at sporting events, or you see Key Club working at, whatever it might be, right? And large kind of food drives or things like that. We just don't seem to do that in Rotary. And I think that's something we could change possibly for our youth.
Here's another thing to consider. Many of the big projects around town, like Children and Youth Day, all have a Key Club coordinator.
Right.
The Key clubs have been really good in getting their people in with the top people. This year, the Salvation Army Honolulu, they turned over, how every so many years they turn over coordinators for Angel Tree and bell ringing. Well, this year they got a new coordinator who wasn't quite sure what to do. So the Key Club volunteered to help him do all his scheduling. And because I knew that one person, she happened to call me and say, "Oh, Susan, what date and time does your club want to do bell ringing and and Angel Tree?" And I said, "Why are you asking me this?" And she said, "Oh, because I'm helping Major, do all the scheduling. And I said, how is it that you're doing all the scheduling? And she said, oh, because he's new and he doesn't quite know what to do, so I'm helping him.